myself up to Cloudsdale. A flock of friends flew me up held tight. Bass and the liquor were pounding till the daylight. Drunk in my brain like a meteor crescendo. Then they started chucking ponies out the window. One by one were thrown off and flew back up doing tricks. It happened fast and somehow I got tossed up in the mix. The ground came at me lightning quick. Got me crying, screaming and kind of sick. You were too drunk to notice or too loud to listen. And I guess my broken limb ain't worth the falling distance. Well, I guess I'll heal myself on the ground, 'cause my lack of fringes just seems to slow you down. You called out sorry and you're glad you didn't fight it. We'll glue your wings and jump and we'll see how you like it. If there's a race in life you'd win, I'll be here below the stratosphere as long as you're in it. Can't flutter for nothing, but they still gotta rise. I'd love to be flapping, instead it just happened, but it's just not happening. I'll never be fly like you. Fly like you. Fly like you.
Hello everybody, it's your favorite Fox Mitzving, and welcome to another episode of Speaking Easy 2. I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you all so much for 300 subs. I never imagined in my wildest freaking dreams that I'd ever get to that point. And I just feel so honored that I have a community like you guys that actually enjoy watching my stuff and look forward to, my streams and whatnot. So just first and foremost, I want to say that. It happened in the middle of filming Speaking Easy 2, and so I was just like, oh man, I'm going to have to include this in the episode. I did make like a little video for it as well, but I wanted to also mention it in Speaking Easy too. So, but yeah, just thank you guys so much. Just, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Another thing that I want to say as well is that I went ahead and kind of did a little script for this episode as well. Maybe not a script would be the right term for it. I sat down and made like a little outline to follow through, because I noticed in Speaking Easy 1 that I just kind of rambled a lot. And I was like, oof, that's not so good. So but yeah, so hopefully this episode is a bit better than Speaking Easy 1. But yeah, so without further ado, however, thanks for tuning in and enjoy the episode. All right, let's get this started, shall we? So our first question comes from Oval, and he asks, which characters are your favorites in gaming and why? Okay, so this is a pretty good question, I'd say. So I guess immediately the first character that comes to mind for me is Big Boss from Metal Gear, and specifically I'm referring to freaking Naked Snake out of all of them, because if you guys don't know, there's like freaking 4 different clones of Snake, but I'm talking about the original Naked Snake from Metal Gear Solid 3. Big reason for him, the reason why I like him is because he's just kind of like that cool military type guy. He's got a lot of lore, and the world of Metal Gear Solid is very intriguing anyways. But that's just a character that I've always liked for his coolness factor, you know what I mean? This badass, army infiltrator dude, he's like the most soldier of soldiers that there ever was, but he has a lot of depth, naturally, as I'm sure you guys know that Metal Gear is convoluted as fuck when it comes to its lore and its history and all the world building and stuff. So naturally, the characters present within that universe are going to be pretty complex too. And Snake is no different. He's a great freaking character, and I've always loved him, always. So, but generally speaking, I guess like all of them though, all of the different variants of Snake, because they are literally clones of him. So let me think what else. I guess a dynamic trio would be the heavy, pyro, and the engineer from Team Fortress 2. These guys are my favorite classes to play whenever I do play TF2, which these days is not all that often. But I do recall whenever I did go hard on TF2, because TF2 was one of those games that it was one of the very first games I ever played, because that game can run on a freaking potato, you know what I mean? So but those classes are my favorite. I love Heavy because he's just this bombastic big Russian dude, you know what I mean? Pyro, I'm a furry. And Engineer, just because, I don't know, he's always been kind of like a funny dude to me, you know? Oh, I mean, just look at his trailer. You can solve anything with guns, you know? And that's definitely an attitude that I can agree with. Another character would be, I'd say, Ratchet. And of course Clank, because the two characters complement each other quite well. Ratchet, and specifically I'm really referring to Ratchet and Clank from the original trilogy, because as the games went on, the characters kind of got butchered, so to say. I wouldn't say like, definitely not as bad as what am I trying to say here? So not as the games went on, right? And you'll notice this with the titles of the games as well. It kind of became more, or definitely tried to become more kid friendly, I want to say. But and because of it, their characters suffered, because Ratchet and Clank, they're a very comedic and funny duo. And that's the thing that I've always enjoyed about these two. I guess in like Ratchet 1, Ratchet was kind of like an asshole to Clank constantly, but like in Going Commando and Up Your Arsenal and Deadlock, the two were just like really good friends that had just great chemistry, and oh man, the jokes back then were legendary. But as it went into the Future series, with Future Tools of Destruction and Crack in Time and stuff like that, they became less funny, I guess, less comedic, and it tried to take itself very seriously with the timeline and stuff that it was trying to set up and the lore, which wasn't that bad. If I'm honest, like the Future series was not as bad as a lot of people say, and they're probably some of the best Ratchet games that you can play, actually, when you're talking about gameplay and graphics and story, because it is a solid story that they provide. It's just the characters kind of became less how they originally were and more like, you know, Nathan Drake, essentially. That's a good analogy, actually. That's what they tried to do with Ratchet and Clank, was they tried to Nathan Drakeify it, or make Ratchet into this, like, you know, mid 2000s hero guy type character, you know, when in the beginning he was just this like cynical freaking little furry dude who went on adventures in the galaxy. So definitely those two. Another two, I'll kind of lump these two together, Elster and Isaac Clarke, because I like them both for very much the same reasons. They are these technicians, engineers who, you know, they go into freaking hell itself in order to try and save their girlfriend, essentially, you know what I mean? And they're haunted by visions and memories of their lover, because they want to fix what they have. Both of them kind of come into the game with this kind of unsolved they come into the game with no closure, right? Because something happened in their relationship and it ended they don't want it to end where they left it, you know what I mean? So it's a bit different in each of their cases, right? But I really do like these two. They I guess they fulfilled the edgy part in my mind, you know, because both of them are very much like, my life sucks, I hate it here, all I want is my girlfriend, my sweet lover, that's all I live for, and I need her, You know what I mean? And this attitude, like especially for Isaac, becomes much more exemplified in Dead Space 2, when they actually gave him a voice for the first time. I know a lot of you watched me play through the remake, but in the original version of Dead Space 1, Isaac did not have a voice. And he wasn't voice acted till Dead Space 2, in which they gave him that kind of like, I want to say Nathan Drake, but depressed sort of character. But Isaac is definitely cool as hell, and so is Elster. So even though Elster doesn't have a lot of dialogue in her game, she definitely has that attitude, and a lot of what you pick up from her is from like lore entries and stuff anyways. So another character that I can think of is definitely I want to say another duo, Dust and Fidget from Dust and Elysian Tale. And I guess this is kind of like, because they're not exactly the most well written of characters, but I have a bias towards them because Dust and Elysian Tale was a game that I really, really absolutely loved, and it had a big impact on me, you know, especially with the whole becoming a furry thing. I do recall it being one of the reasons why I inevitably I became one of them, you know what I mean? Not that there was much hope for me anyways, because I was already, you know, a freaking pony guy anyways. So but yeah, Dust and Fidget, Fidget especially, she's just this lovable little freaking bat thing, love her. And Dust, just because he's Dust, you know. Let me think here. Of course we can't make a list like this without bringing up Mass Effect. So I'm gonna make a list of all of them right here. So it's gonna be Garrus Vakarian, Talizora, Grunt, Joker. Actually, no, if I made a list, it would go on too long. But those four in particular are the ones that I think about when I think of Mass Effect. I'm excluding Shepard because although Shepard, you know, him being the only playable character in the game, his character is very dependent on the choices that you make. You know, so you have like the pacifist and renegade, you know, options, but so it's really dependent on the player what kind of person Shepard is. So I'm going to exclude him. But Mass Effect is full of characters that are really well written and in depth. And these four are some of my favorites. Garrus Vakarian is your bro, dude. He's always got your back. He's always there for you. And he's your wingman, dude. He's like your guy. You know what I mean? He's bro. He's bro is what he is. Talizora, like I mentioned in Speakeasy 1, she is best girl, and I absolutely love her. And every time that I play Mass Effect, I always romance her. No matter what, I always romance. I don't romance anyone else. Okay, Liara, Ashley, no, I don't want any of them. Only Tali. So, but yeah, so Talizora, and then Grunt. Grunt is my son. He's my son, and I love him. I love him so much. And Joker, because he's funny. I don't know if a lot of people do this, but after every mission, I always look forward to talking to Joker because he always has something snarky to say. And even though most of the time he doesn't have like a dedicated dialogue tree that you can pick stuff from and have an in-depth interaction with him, he always has something funny to say. So it's always worth, after a mission, stopping by to the cockpit, talking to Joker to see what he has to say, because 90% of the time it's something funny. Like, especially in Mass Effect 3, oh my god. Absolutely love Joker. Let me think what else here. Of course I have to talk about Undertale, because so many I love Undertale and Deltarune. Off the top of my head, I'm already thinking of Noelle, Susie, Toriel, Alfie, Sans. You know what? Just all of them. I like all the Undertales. Every single. I guess one of the reasons why I really like Undertale is kind of the same reasons that I like Mass Effect, because the characters are so strong. They are the main allure of that series, and so I really like those characters. I guess honorable mention B. Sentinello from Night in the Woods, and I really like her because And I'm playing through the game right now, so if you don't want any spoilers, just skip ahead. Skip ahead right now. Actually, do it right now if you don't want any spoilers. If you're watching my streams and you want to watch me play Night in the Woods, no spoilers. Skip. Go. Be gone. Be gone. Go. Shoo, 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 shoo. Okay. Now that it's just, us. So with B, I really, really heavily related to B in Night in the Woods. So one thing that a lot of people, you won't hear from a lot of people who play Night in the Woods, I actually freaking do not like May. I do not like May. And that's because, and it's like, it's not that I don't like her because she's poorly written. I don't like her because, she's the type of character who, she's lazy, essentially, is why I don't like her. She's completely content with just kind of sitting around, not doing anything, not progressing anywhere, right? And the reason why I love B so much is because May and B are polar opposites. You know what I mean? B is she's a go-getter, right? She wants to go to college. She wants to, excel her career and get out of Possum Springs. You know what I mean? May is stuck in the past. She doesn't understand, and quite frankly, she never really quite understood the value of going to college and getting a higher education or a degree or anything, right? And the worst part is that in the game, we don't really get any reason, so to say, for why she kind of dropped out of college. I mean, we know that she has her dissociative disorder, and we know that she didn't really like college and she didn't quite acclimate to college life, but her parents, and you guys will see this if you do watch my stream, whenever you have conversations with their parents, they will mention how hard it was for them to scrape up the money to send, May to college, right? Because it's very well communicated that in the town of Possum Springs, it's going through rough times. Businesses are closing. It's a small town in the middle of nowhere. What was mainly bringing in the money, which was the mines and the factories, they're all closing down. There's just no opportunity in Possum Springs at all. And so everyone there is struggling. Everyone there is having a hard time, just getting anywhere. And May, she had a full ride to college. She could have, studied, become something, but she didn't, and she tossed it all aside for what? And B, a reason why I love B is because B is perhaps the only one who actually confronts May and criticizes her for it, right? Throughout the game, she actively detests May for just throwing away that opportunity that she wished she had. And like I said again, I just really related to her, with the struggling, with the having to work at such a young age, the feeling of being stuck, of never being able to progress, of money always being something that you're stressing about. B is an adult. She is a young woman trying to be an adult the best way and with as much effort as she can possibly muster. She's a realist, right? She's living in the now. She works, she has responsibilities, she has to take care of her father and etc. Her mother is dead. She has so much shit going on, right? That seeing May toss aside her opportunity, right? And then worse than that, come home and just be a bum. I'm honestly surprised that B and May I'm surprised that B is able to still be friends with May, considering everything that's happening, and I think it just kind of goes to show how some people, they're just kind of stuck being kids, you know what I mean, for better or for worse, and like they just don't acclimate well to adulthood. And so when their friends inevitably push forward and become adults, right, they start working that 9 to 5, they start paying taxes, doing what they have to do to survive, she's just kind of ostracized, left behind, right? But so B Sentinello, an honorable mention. She's probably my favorite character in Night in the Woods. I'd say Greg comes in a close second, but I like B because I very much related with her, with how hard she had to work from such a young age, and just how she's struggling, and how she's a realist. Because I recall when I was younger, a young adult, I was stressing the hell out over all this adult shit. But besides that, I gritted my teeth, and I was just like, fuck it, we're doing this, So, but yeah, so those are some of my favorite characters. And for our next question, Deegan asks, how did you get your skirt? It's a funny story, that one. It was the third year of the war, I think. But it felt more like 12. A lot of us thought we'd never leave this horrible place. None of us really did. There was no sleep to be had the night prior. The Drokians had raided our trench, thinking they could take it under the cover of the night. I thought that night would be the end for me. It almost was, but I survived. I spent the rest of the night in Strudel's arms after she'd patched me up. I thought it was over. But by the break of morning, I found Sully dead, and Jack wounded, his guts hanging out of his stomach like they were grounded meat. Strudel got to work patching him up, but we all knew he was beyond fixing. He looked to me, these pleading, pathetic eyes. Kill me. Don't let Strudel see. I don't know why. I looked to Strudel for approval, and she nodded to me, and she walked away. That's when Yeah, so why does Mitz have a scar on the real, right? Like from an out of character standpoint, why does Mitz have a scar? It really boils down to two things, really. One, the rule of cool. I think it looks cool, and two, it's design that makes sense, right? So for the first one, right? I'm a guy that operates off the rule of cool. Really, if I think that it looks cool, I think that I want to put this in my character, and I have so many examples of that, right? The biggest reason, though, is because I just genuinely really I just like it, and so many of the characters that I enjoyed throughout my youth and even still now were they had very obvious and present facial scars. And so like, for example, we've got Kakashi Sensei, we've got Anakin Skywalker, Geralt from The Witcher, Guts from Berserk, we've got Kratos. Oh, who else? Captain Harlock, John Marston, oh, Big Boss, Snake from Metal Gear. Oh gosh, that guy really inspired so many of my characters. And like I said earlier, this is very much reflected in so many characters that I have created for roleplay, for whatever. I mean, like, that gnarly gash, across the eye, I just think is really neat. So that's kind of the first point, right? I just think it looks cool. To me, it's smart character design, right? Because you got to be very, very deliberate about what you're going to put into your character. I just think it makes sense. For example, if Mitz was like a poet or something, like he wrote books or whatever for a living, it wouldn't make much sense for him to like have this gnarly scar without some sort of, context to it, right? Because if he's only ever been a poet, then it doesn't make sense for him to have like all these scars and to be all rattled and stuff, right? At least to me, it doesn't make much sense, because I feel like something like a scar, scars in general, not even like facial scars, they can communicate a lot about a character, and so a lot of the times, when you see a character with facial scars, that tells you that, man, this guy, he must have been in a fight or two, or been through something crazy. They've been through something terrible for them to be maimed as they are. So, and I guess secondly as well, with scars in particular, at least to me, especially with those like gnarly face gashes and whatever, I think to me it just kind of communicates machismo. You know what I mean? Masculinity. And that's because of, again, all of those characters that I listed previously. They are all these really like tough, gruff, don't mess with me type of characters. And I just think that's really cool, And so secondly, just design that makes sense, right? It makes sense, right? Mitz lives, well, I guess let me kind of give a little bit of context, right? Methinks setting takes place in, something comparable to the 1920s, 1930s, right? And I say comparable because Methinks' world isn't actually Earth, right? I wouldn't even say that it's an alternate universe of Earth. Like the continents are different, everything, all kinds of different nations, history. So, but the 1920s is the best kind of like direct comparison, so to say. So, and when you think of it, right, what were men, like young men? So think of people in their 20s, 30s, right? What were they doing around the time? Well, just a couple years prior, they were in a trench fighting the First World War, and so it's just like, yeah, especially so with the survivors, a lot of them were just irrevocably, completely fucked, outdated strategies with rapidly evolving technology, not quite a good cocktail to have. And so, they had a lot of these like poor fuckers running headfirst into machine gun fire and artillery strikes and what have you, right? And so, as a result, you had a generation of men who were scarred, mind, body, and soul, and so I like to communicate that through that scar on his face. And another kind of, I guess, fun fact that's kind of a bit of a side note is that Mitzving, he actually has a lot of facial scars. It's not just that one gash. But in his universe, they have these things called false furs, which are these little patches of, like, fake synthetic fur that, you can just put some water on one side of it, and then you can apply it onto your face, and it, like, sticks on there. It's like an adhesive. And Mitz, he covers up a lot of his scars with the false furs. Like, he's got scars on his neck, on the other side of his face and everything, but the one that he doesn't cover up is the gnarly gash that he has across his eye. And what I want to communicate with that is that scar means something to him. It's special in its own fucked up and twisted way to him. So and what inspired that whole thing with the false furs, for example, is that in World War I, because prosthetics and everything was very in its infancy, basically. They had what's it called, like these porcelain face masks for the survivors who had like severe facial trauma from the war, you know, like people who were missing like entire chunks of their jaw or like a cheek, or like their nose was like not there anymore. They had like these porcelain masks and stuff that they could just like put on, and like I know what you guys know what I'm talking about. And so that's kind of what inspired that in his universe. But yeah, so why does he have that scar? It looks cool, and it makes sense for his character and his setting. That's basically what it is. All right, and our next question comes from Oval, and he asks, how and when did you come up with the name Mitzving the Fox and your OC? So, okay, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, lots of Mitzving questions this time around. I like that. Okay, so for my username, my actual username, Mitzving the Fox. So, the Fox bit, I just decided to put in there for essentially like marketing, right? I wanted to communicate to any potential new viewers that, like, you know, I'm a furry VTuber, I'm a fox, you know, that's my whole thing. I'm not like a regular guy or anything. I just really wanted to point that out. And in the past, my usernames have always usually had the word fox in it somewhere. I almost never like didn't have that there. Like I want to say post like 2016, I started putting fox somewhere in my username. And as a matter of fact, a lot of my old friends, like friends that I've had forever, they still call me by my nickname Fox, just Fox, because that's who I was before I had Mitzving, essentially. But yeah, so the Fox bit, that's just for marketing, essentially, is what that is. Just thought it'd be recognizable for the brand, you know. But let's get down to the actual name. So Mitzving's actual name is Mitzving Lochran, right? And so and that was also another thing that I had in mind. I was like, oh well, I will just make my name just Mitzving, or just Mitzving Lochran. But like I said, again, I thought that the Fox would make it a bit more marketable, I guess. But yeah, so the first part of his name, you know, his first name, Mitzving. So there is this anime called Spice and Wolf. And what Spice and Wolf is about, it's like about medieval economics, medieval merchants and stuff. Also, there's a wolf girl or something like that. Me acting like I've never seen the anime. But yeah, so that's essentially what the anime is about. You know, you've got this merchant named Lawrence and his companion Hollow the Wolf. Rain, if you're watching this, I will not be going into a full tangent about the lore and the economics of Spice and Wolf. That's not what I'm here for. But anyways, within the world of Spice and Wolf, there are various different currencies and coins that different kingdoms use, and Lawrence, being a merchant, has to keep track of all of these currencies, their relevancy, you know, if they're still any good. If that kingdom was blown up by a war, then that currency is no longer in use. And Mitzving is one of those currencies. Matter of fact, I'll just play a clip. We'll play a clip.
Silver coin.
No, that one's a fake marine silver coin.
But I thought that was this one over here.
It's a later version of Bishop Radion's silver coin. Don't worry, you'll learn more as you use them. I think we should continue after you've sobered up.
No! One more time!
If you insist. Now then, I'll start from here, so try to listen carefully. Trini silver coin. Feeling silver coin. Loot silver coin. Fake marine silver coin. Farum silver coin. Bald King Ranbalt silver coin. Mitzving Cathedral silver coin. Fake Mitzving Cathedral silver coin. Saint Mitzvig silver coin. And this one...
I am finished. Good night.
Good choice. You are a wise wolf.
So yeah, and there you have it. There's those three variants of the Mitzving coin. Well, there's more than that, actually. But that's basically where I got it. I recall as I was making Mitzving, I knew that I wanted him to have a very unique name. I wanted him to have a name that like just is unique, but also doesn't sound like it's trying too hard, you know? And that's the thing that I am always very bad at when it comes to making characters or OCs. And I'm just very, very picky about like everything, their design, their appearance, the names, and especially so with my Sona, you know, because this was supposed to be my Sona. So I wanted him to have a cool name that I would really like and that I would like people to call me. So one night as I was watching Spice and Wolf, I was just doing a rerun of it. That scene came up and I was like, you know, Mitzving, that name sounds pretty cool. It sounds, I don't know, to me it sounds like elegant, but yeah, it just sounds elegant. It sounds, but also like strong, I guess. But yeah, so that's how I got Mitzving. It's from an anime that me and my friends used to watch, and I will also say Spice and Wolf is a good anime. So if you're in the market to watch an anime, go watch Spice and Wolf. Pretty good stuff. So the second part of the name, Lochran. So around, I want to say 2016. So there's this composer. His name is Alex Rowe. And he was pretty big in the Souls community back in the day because he used to make a lot of fan compositions of Dark Souls. He would take direct inspiration from various games in the Souls franchise, and he would either remake them or make completely like new fan compositions of Souls songs. Essentially, he'd make songs that could fit right into the game. Essentially, and I was a really big fan of him back during that time. And around 2016, maybe it was 2015, I want to say 2016 though. I think it was like a year after Dark Souls 3 had released, which 3 was like the biggest Souls game at that point. And I sunk so much hours into Dark Souls 3. But so he ended up making a new album that was based off of Soul stuff called Dark Sign 3. Or Dark Sign 2, not Dark Sign 3. Dark Sign 3 hasn't come out yet. If it ever did, I'd lose my mind. And I recall like being so hyped for it because I loved Alex Rowe's compositions. And his Dark Sign, well, all of his like albums are basically fan compositions, essentially, completely new music. And in Dark Sign 2, there is a composition called Lochran, Keeper of the Void, which just happens to be like my favorite song from the entire album. Probably, I don't know. It goes neck and neck with so there's Lochran, Keeper of the Void, and then my other big favorite being In Death I Am Reborn. But yeah, Lochran, Keeper of the Void. I was just listening to that one night while trying to make a name for Mitz, and I was like, yeah, you know, Lochran, that sounds like it'd go together just fine. You know, Mitzving, Lochran. I don't know. It just kind of rolls off the tongue, I think, and it sounds very elegant. It sounds like a gentleman's name, you know. And I thought that was just very appropriate for the type of character that Mitzving was going to be. As far as like when I came up with Mitzving, this would have been definitely like late 2021, early 2022. I know that I made Mitzving kind of post. I was in a deployment throughout most of 2021 and early 2020 around COVID era. I made Mitzving somewhere towards the end of that. I know I wasn't in deployment anymore. I was just, I think I'd just come home, I think. And I've always wanted a Sona, and I recall like talking with my therapist, and my therapist thought, you know, that it'd be a great idea if I, you know, came up with a Sona of some sort. I recall them telling me like, oh, it would be great for you to have this caricature because, you know, it's, you can see yourself essentially from a third person perspective, right? And that would help you kind of look into the mirror, so to say. So I thought, yeah, fantastic. I always wanted an OC anyways, or a Sona anyways. So yeah, I want to say probably around maybe November 2021 January 2022 is when Mitzving was like officially born, because I know like once I had the name, then I went and got some art of him and everything. But yeah, so I want to say that possibly I'd have to look through my YCH. So there's a website called YCH, or Your Character Here, where you can get a lot of good art for pretty good prices, but sometimes artists just straight up put commission slots on there. And I know for the longest time, especially for a lot of Mitz's early art, because like before I started streaming, I had a bunch of art of Mitzving after I came up with him around 2022, and so I know I use that site heavily for so much art, like not even just Mitzving, but also like a lot of other character art and stuff that I have. But yeah, so I'd have to check the dates because I don't quite remember. I do know that like YCH does keep a record of like your transactions plus like conversations that you had with artists, but like the UI is kind of shit on that website. So, but I'd have to look to see the exact date. But yeah, as far as like when I came up with Mitzving, that was around 2021, early 2022. And yeah, that's kind of how Mitz came to be and how I got his name. His surname from Dark Sign 2, and his first name is a coin from Spice and Wolf. And I was right in thinking that like the name Mitzving was very unique, because it's like, who else and what else do you know is called Mitzving? If you do like a Google search for the term Mitzving, you'll either get a wiki of the Spice and Wolf currencies, or some like obscure company that like does weird crap, or you'll get me on the front page. So but yeah, so yeah, that's that. That's how I got Mitzving. All right, so we're doing a lightning round. So this is just a bunch of questions that I didn't really think that I'd have like long or verbose answers for, so I'm just gonna kind of like lump them all into this section, the lightning round, I guess. I don't know, maybe it could be an allegory for, I don't know, taking a lot of shots of alcohol or something, you know, to keep in theme of the whole speakeasy thing, you know. Anyways, so without further ado, and I'll put a dancing Soroba, I'll put a dancing Soroba like right there. I'll put a dancing Soroba right there for your entertainment, dear viewer. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So, first question from Anthony: how are you doing your thumbnails at the moment, or do you have an official artist for you? So, no, I don't have an official artist or anything like that. I don't think I'm big enough to have an official artist. As far as like how I do my thumbnails, most of them I already had prior to me streaming, because like how I kind of mentioned before, whenever I got Mitzving, I just commissioned a bunch of art of him from like me doing my favorite games and stuff, and so when I started streaming, it was perfect and translated. But as far as like the artwork done, because like it was around Deltarune that I had to start commissioning art for my stream. I've had 3 artists on speed dial, those being Rodelia, which most of you already know if you're in the server, Zero, and Rohan. And I like to keep them in my pocket because they do art pretty dang fast, and they have really good prices. So but yeah, those 3 artists are the ones that do mainly a good chunk of my art on stream. So yeah, as far as like how I actually put it all together, I use Paint 3D, baby. Paint 3D, it's the best editing software that there ever was. I love Paint 3D. I hate the fact that Microsoft discontinued it, but I still have that puppy downloaded, so I'll still use it till they just like, I don't know, it dies or something. I will never delete my copy of Paint 3D. So but yeah, that's how I do my thumbnails and stuff. Let's see here. Oval asks, what games are you excited for this year? So I kind of already answered that question in Speaking Easy 1, but just to reiterate, mainly I'm looking forward to Enid Dream Barbecue, Elden Ring Night Rain, Mecha Break, which is technically already out. You can download it and play it. The full thing is just there. They say it's a demo, but like the demo's gonna last for like 6 months, and then the game's gonna release finally. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be one of those cases where if you played it during the demo, all of your user data is gonna transfer into the full game anyways, because I doubt that it's actually a demo, you know what I mean? But yeah, so Mecha Break, and then Deltarune, of course. That's really those are the only games really on my radar. And when I say that, I mean those are really the only games I give a shit about. Okay, next question from Deacon. Do you think SteamOS will absolutely body Microsoft as the gaming OS? Kind of a random question, more of like a technical thing, but basically, no. I don't think SteamOS is going to dethrone Windows at all, because at least if we're talking like mass consumer, mass appeal sort of deal, no, because Windows is used for virtually anything. But I guess if we're talking specifically the gaming OS, then yeah, I suppose. But that's because like there isn't any other competition against it, at least that I know of. I mean, I guess you have like, you know, Linux users that have their own custom gaming OS or whatever they want to call it, but no, I don't think it's gonna really make a dent in anything. See, because like Valve, they like to release a lot of gimmicks of stuff, right? So, but yeah, that's what I think about that. Next question. Okay, Ka asks, would you ever have anyone else in your streams that you've known for a while? Probably. I do want to have like I do want to do collabs and stuff. It's just scheduling and stuff that's difficult with a lot of people, and I really want to do it with people that I really know, because I've gotten a lot of requests to do collabs with people, but it's like, man, I don't know you, you know what I mean? And I'm very like, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm pretty damn introverted, you know, so like odds are if you come to me and you ask for a collab, I'm just gonna like look at you and be like, no. But I don't know. Maybe. I do know that for Speaking Easy, I want to definitely have like a co-host sort of thing, so it's more of like a talk show rather than just me doing Q&A, right? Though I still really like where this is going, where it is like a Q&A sort of deal. But yeah, to answer that question, yeah, I would like to have a streaming partner, like a dedicated streaming partner, and I would like to have somebody to do Speaking Easy with as well. I think that would be a lot of fun, you guys seeing me bounce off of someone else. So okay, next question from Soph. What are some compliments or pet names that you don't like? That's a good one. I really like that question. So to very quickly, I guess, the two compliments that I really don't like, I wouldn't say hate, but that I don't like is I don't like being called cute, and I don't like being called good boy. Big no. So for cute, I don't know. I've never liked it. I guess it feels infantilizing is what it feels like. Especially when it's coming from someone who's younger than me. I hate it. Like, dude, if you're younger than me and you're calling me cute, get out. Just leave. Get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? What the hell? I'm a grown ass man. You know what I mean, dude? I am 24 years old. Who the fuck are you calling cute? Especially if you're like freaking not even like if you're 18. What the hell? You know? Cute my ass. Anyways, and then good boy. I guess kind of the same as I want to say the same as cute, where it just kind of feels infantilizing. You know what I mean? I guess when people tell me that, it makes me feel like a pet or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, good boy. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I've never liked that. I've never have. So yeah, and again, it's especially not welcome if you're younger than me. I don't. So don't. Viewer, keep that in mind. Don't call me cute. Don't call me good boy. I will kill you. I will actually kill you. Thank you, Soph. I'm really glad you asked. Let's see here. Next question from Anthony. Is there any detail on your PNG model, I don't know if you call it that you took for any reason? So you're referring to my what's it called? Yeah, PNG tuber. You were right. Same difference. But yeah, my PNG tuber, not really. So funny story about that one. Whenever I commissioned it, I actually didn't know it was a PNG tuber model. I thought it was emojis. So whenever I commissioned it, I just kind of threw my ref sheet at the artist and was like, yeah, do the thing, right? And then they came back to me and was just like, yeah, here you go. And also you can use this program to animate it and stuff for streaming. And I was like, what? I thought this was emojis, not that. So, but yeah, again, it's kind of like that story from, like with the thumbnails. I had commissioned a bunch of stuff for methinks that was just sitting there. So when I started streaming, it was very convenient. You know, I was like, oh wow, I have a PNG model, so I can do that sort of stuff now. You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, my PNG model, there's not really a lot of detail on it. I definitely did not have the same communication as I did with the artist who did my VTuber model, which you can actually see here. Look at this guy. Look at this freaking dude. Oh my god, I love this model so much. Look at this freaking guy. Anyways, but yeah, the artist who made this model, her name is Mundara, by the way. I actually had very active and a lot of back and forth with her than I did the one who made my PNG tuber. I didn't talk to them at all, basically is what I'm saying. But for this model, dude, I had so much communication. There's a lot of detail on this, the freaking little gold rose that he has on his chest. That's pivotal to the lore. That's lore bit right there. So anyways, let's see here. Next question. What sports do you like to watch? Or what sports do you enjoy to watch / follow? So if we're talking real sports, then soccer. It's called football, by the way. It's called football. Everywhere else in the world, it's called football. I really like soccer. I've been keeping up with soccer forever because that's just kind of like in my culture. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do enjoy soccer. I do keep up with that. Besides soccer, there's really nothing else that I like to watch. I'm knowledgeable about like American football because I'm American, right? So, but I don't really enjoy it. I just have it for the sake of like, you know, I'm American, so I have to kind of know about it because like when I go to bars and stuff, people are going to be talking about football. They're going to see me in the corner and they're going to be like, hey you, what team are you rooting for? And I'll just be like, this team. But I guess esports, in the esports side of things, the only esport I really follow is Counter-Strike. I actually do really enjoy watching Counter-Strike, especially with my friends, because I have one friend who's really into it. But yeah, outside of those two, soccer and CS, I don't really keep up with many other sports, if I'm being pretty honest. Okay, next question. Let's see here. Deacon asks, do you have any plans on playing Half-Life 2 anytime soon? Good question. Any plans? Definitely not. I don't have any plans for it. But that is probably a game that sounds like it'd be cool to play on stream. But I guess it's just a matter of if I ever get an itch for it. See, because the thing is, like, I'm a really spontaneous person, and whenever I get ideas for this sorts of stuff, it's like spur of the moment. I just have it. I want to do it. I have the energy. So that's typically how that goes. That's how Speaking Easy happened, actually. I got done streaming, and I was just like, I want to do this now. So, Half-Life, maybe. I mean, Half-Life is a classic. I would love to play that game on stream for you guys. But, I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on if, you know, that's what my audience wants. But then again, I am the type of guy that I just don't give a shit and I'm going to do what I want. It's just the type of attitude that I have. Anyways, next question. Oval asks, do you have any ideas for future video format content? Not really. I wouldn't say so. And again, that's because I'm a really spontaneous person. So when I do get ideas for videos, it's just out of the blue. It's completely random. Like, again, Speaking Easy was just kind of like, originally it was supposed to be a podcast sort of thing, but now it's whatever the fuck this is, you know? So, but yeah, no, I don't really have any ideas for any other sort of video content. I I toyed with the idea of like maybe making Let's Plays, but it's kind of like I kind of do that on stream anyways, you know? So unless I start doing anything crazy on stream or doing something different on stream, like just chatting streams and stuff like that, I'll probably just this is probably going to be it right here. Speaking easy. But yeah, so that's that. Let's see here. Next question. Jake asks, do you have something planned for the first year anniversary of your first stream? So fantastic question, amazing question, great question, Jake. Love it. No, I don't actually. And now that you've pointed that out, I am going to be just rubbing my brain, rubbing it like a freaking genie lamp, you know, to try and conjure up some freaking ideas for it, because I'm not sure. That being said, guys, leave in the comments. I'm open to suggestions. If you guys have any ideas for what I should do for my anniversary stream. Jeez, that's crazy to me. I think my anniversary stream is like, I'd have to check it out. Wouldn't it? It's like in 2 months, right? Jeez, goodness me. Anyways, next question. Let's see here. Anthony asks, if you could erase one game from your memory to experience it again, which one would it be? Mass Effect. I want to play Mass Effect again without knowing anything, so that I can fall in love with it and obsess with it all over again and know all kinds of obscure crap about it. I would love to erase Mass Effect from my mind so I can find it again and play it again. I would make one of my friends, I would tell one of my friends, hey, I'm going to erase this memory, and I need you to tell me to play this game. And no matter how hard I fight against it, you have to like punch me in the face and make me play this game. This game's amazing, I'm gonna love it. Anyways, next question. Deacon asks, a mime shanks you in the halls, what do you do? I would howl in pain, cry, bleed a lot probably, and then I would try and suplex the mime. But considering it's a mime, it probably has like telepathic mindfuck powers, and it'll just like make a wall in my face. It'll just be like, and then I'll like hit into it, knock myself out. So I would try in vain to kill it, and then die. Next question. Next and final question for the lightning round. Ka, do you like Undertale or Undertale Yellow's story more, and why? Okay, that's an easy one. So I like Undertale better. I really like Undertale Yellow, but Undertale is like the granddaddy of the entire series, so I have to give it props. Also Toriel, also Alphys, also Undyne, also I like them all. I like them all. Gosh, but there are some things that I do like about Undertale Yellow that I don't like in Undertale. But it's more mechanical. For example, I like that in Undertale Yellow, you can just go straight for the pacifist ending and whatever. In Undertale, you have to do a neutral run first, and then you can do a pacifist, which has always been annoying for me. But yeah, so with that concludes the lightning round. Woohoo! So, I thought you might enjoy a game. You know, we could play a little while we talk, you know? So, ever played beer pong before? It's pretty simple. All you have to do is just, you know, throw the ball into my cups. You take out all my cups, you win. If I take out all your cups, I win. So, pretty simple. It can be fun. Methinks. So, anyways, our next question comes from Anthony. And he asks, what inspired you to become a VTuber? Well, you know, I recall it was something that I wanted to do as a kid, right? I wanted to, you know, I just recall watching Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye back in the day, and I always told myself, like, man, I want to do what they do. I want to play games and entertain people and make people laugh. I recall, you know, I would, you know, watch their videos with my brother or by myself, and I always felt like I had this connection with them because they were just so good entertainers and such great personalities, you know? And so that was like, I guess, a thing I wanted to do as a kid. But as I became an adult, that dream kind of faded. That interest faded, you know? Nice. Yeah. You're gonna have a hard time playing against me. I'm a pro at this. I'm a real pro, let me tell you. Let's see here. Oof. I was thinking that in VR, it was gonna be so much more difficult, you know? Oh, that one was a bit too hard. Now you try. Good try. Anyways, for the longest time, I just kind of forgot that that's a thing I wanted to do, you know? And especially so when it came to streaming. You know, fun fact, I actually thought, you know, streaming was very stupid. I didn't understand the appeal of streaming. I always thought, you know, like especially VTubing. That's the ironic part. I never understood why people like that stuff or why they watched it. I guess because I had the mentality of like old school YouTube video format, and if you were gonna play, you had to have your face on it or something, right? Like, you know, how could people like a little puppet essentially, you know? But one night, I just recall it was a busy day at work. I had a lot. Ooh, yeah, good hit. Try again. Nice. Okay, you got a knack for this. All right, 3 in a row. Let's see what else you got. Nice, 4 in a row. Okay, you'll definitely miss on this one though. You won't get that lucky. Okay, hot shot. Okay. Okay. You're cheating. You're definitely cheating. What are you got aimbot or something on there? What is this? What is this? You're actually cheating. You're actually cheating. You got lucky, is what you got. Anyways, are you sure this is the first time you've played? I don't think so. I think you're actually a pro. Anyways, there was one night that was it was a boring and long night at work. Absolutely nothing was happening. It was so calm, you know, and I just recall like, man, I want to, I don't know, I want to pass the time. So I opened up YouTube and was just looking for music to listen to. And that's when, like, off the corner of my eye, I saw a VTuber, and she goes by the name of Pixely Games 2000. And, and you know, funny enough, I believe that the reason why I saw her thumbnail pop up was because I was looking for the OST of Ratchet and Clank. Because, man, that game has some bangers. Like, the OSTs of like the original Ratchet and Clank trilogy, they had some good music. Anyways, like I was saying, so I saw her playing, and I was like, she was playing Going Commando, which is like one of my favorite Ratchets, like of all time. I love Going Commando, and I was like, you know what the heck, might as well tune in, right? So I tuned in, and she like, I don't know. I found myself so entertained. Like, I really enjoyed her stream. She had a very sweet and engaging personality, and I watched the entirety of it. And keep in mind that this was the first time ever that I had ever watched a live stream. You know what I mean? At least to its fullest, to the full length, you know, all the way till the streamer stopped streaming. I'd never done that before. I'd never even tuned into a live stream, really, ever. And I think the closest that I ever got to like interacting with live streaming or streamers before then was watching like the highlight clips like channels that people had, like, you know, like Moist Critical and stuff like that. And that was really just to catch up with the news and the latest drama going on, not because I actually was interested or anything, you know. So yeah, I watched Pixela. Oh man, my aim is a little off. But yours is too. Anyways, so I watched Pixela, and I just thought, you know, damn, I want to watch more. I subbed, joined her Discord, you know, and as the two of us talked, you know, I kind of became a bit of a regular back in the day. Well, back in the day, last year. This was in early, like, 2024. Probably, like, January, I want to say. Maybe February, something like that. Anyways, I remember I had expressed to her that you know, it looks fun. It looks fun to do, and I was kind of interested. But I recall I wasn't very confident in, I just wasn't confident at all. I didn't think anyone would ever want to watch me. I thought I had a pretty dull personality. And so, I don't know. I threw off the idea. But she would, you know, tell me, you should do it. It's fun. You'd probably like it. And I thought, you know what? Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? You know, no one watches, no one shows up. Like, okay, why not? So, I guess it was really Pixela who pushed me towards that, you know? And I guess I kind of had that interest already-ish. But I never thought it'd be like this. I never thought I'd be a streamer. I thought I'd be like a video... I thought it'd be in video format, any YouTubing that I did. But I guess I was just allured to streaming because of the interactability with chat, and also because it's, quite frankly, a bit easier than making videos, that's for sure. I mean, making Speakeasy episode 1 and probably in the middle of making episode 2, I'm going to sit and do a lot of editing, and making episode 1 of Speakeasy, oh my gosh, that was a lot of editing, and it doesn't even look all that great anyways. But yeah, I never thought I'd be a streamer, let alone a VTuber streamer, and but here we are. I guess, you know, young Mitzving would probably be pretty happy that I did end up doing this, becoming a streamer and having my own VTuber and everything, you know? So, to answer your question, Anthony, what really inspired me, I guess, was Pixela. That night when I watched her stream, and it was just really fun and really enjoyable. She had a really sweet and engaging personality, and I thought, you know, I think I could have fun doing something like that too. So, alright. I'll get you with this one. And for our next question, and I'm going to lump these two together, but from Anthony and Ka, they ask, any underrated games that you'd recommend, and what games would you recommend if you could? And the reason I'm kind of lumping them together is because they're pretty similar questions, and I tend to kind of play underrated small games that no one's ever freaking heard of anyways. So I've got that weird taste in video games, I guess. But anyways, first and foremost, what I can definitely recommend is Speedrunners. So Speedrunners is the game that has the most hours, that I have the most hours on in Steam, and it's a simple game where you play as a little character, and the goal is to just run and beat your friend to the freaking finish line, and you do loops around the map over and over. And dude, oh my god, building up momentum and doing techs in that game is so freaking satisfying. But yeah, that's one of the games I can definitely recommend. Another one that I played, when did I play this? This was like last year, around August, I want to say. I want to hug that gator. Oh my gosh, just look at Olivia. Oh man, I love her. I love her. But so Wani Hug That Gator is a what is it called? Virtual novel. And see, I never ever thought I'd ever play a freaking virtual novel of all things. But and I'm being quite honest, I only played Wani because Olivia looks cute. So, but man, is it an emotional roller coaster. It is very well made. And if you guys can get through the, virtual novel aspect of it, then Wani might be something that you can appreciate. Because I know I certainly did. But yeah, that's probably another one that may surprise you guys. And okay, so another one would be Signalis. I'm playing that on stream right now if you want to see what that game looks like. Sig is definitely one that I would recommend heavily. Risk of Rain 2. I really enjoy roguelikes, and Risk of Rain is just kind of that for me. It is the ultimate roguelike. Some people may argue with me and be like, oh no, it's the Binding of Isaac, but I've never played Binding, so but yeah, no, Risk of Rain 2, so much fun. I love Risk of Rain 2. Another one, it's not necessarily underrated because I feel like it made its rounds whenever it came out, but Inscription was a lot of fun. It's a card game, and let's just say that it'll definitely surprise you. Stout will always be my friend. Another one that I could recommend is Freedom Planet. 1 or 2, either are good. If you really enjoy, Sonic, or at least the classic OG Sonic, then Freedom Planet is like a spiritual sort of successor to it. Freedom Planet 2, really good. I really enjoyed it over 1. But that's another game I could recommend. Let me think here. If for you PS4 owners, or actually it's on PC now, I'm pretty sure. But God of War 2018. God of War 2018 was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I adored that game. The story is so engaging. Honestly, just pick it up and play it if you can afford it. It is probably one of the better things that Sony has pumped out in a really long time. Let's see here. Ooh, here's one that I'm surprised I've never actually mentioned, but Super Animal Royale. So it's a battle royale, but with like fluffy cute little animals, and the game runs on a freaking potato, so like anyone can play it. I normally don't like battle royales. I think the only one that I ever really tolerated was Fortnite, but freaking Super Animal Royale, I pumped in so many hours into that game, and that's because I like any game where I can play as like a furry and not a human. I'm honestly surprised that a lack of games that are like that, but yeah, no, Super Animal Royale is a lot of fun. You can pick whatever species of animal you want. You can customize them, unlock, attires and stuff for them. So it's really good. I'm really hoping they don't like shut down the game, because I know it's not the most popular thing out there, but I love Super Animal Royale. I might even play that on stream sometime now that I'm thinking about it. You guys can watch me get wrecked or whatever. Another one that I also could recommend is Tunic. So if you guys are a fan of the classic Zelda formula, pick up Tunic. It is a work of art. Absolute work of art. Loved Tunic, and I don't think it really got the recognition that other of Team Finji's games have. Was it Team Finji that? No, that was a different dev. Don't kill me! Ah! Actually, I think it was Finji. But anyways, I don't think it got the recognition it deserved. And Tunic was absolutely wonderful. I loved it. So yeah, go play Tunic. That's another one I can recommend. Helldivers 1, the original Helldivers. I really enjoyed it, and I played the hell out of it when it came out. I have very dear memories of when me and my cousins they'd come over to my house and we'd all play Helldivers 1 on my PC. I think it's aged very, very well. if I'm being quite honest with you. Like, yeah, it's not the, you know, third person shooter perspective or anything like that, but I think it's still a really, really great game. And if you really like the top down perspective, like the twin stick shooter type genre, then definitely pick up Helldivers 1. I would say that Helldivers 1 even excels over Helldivers 2 in a lot of different ways. Like, for example, one thing that I really enjoyed about Helldivers 1 over 2 is that the Galactic War could actually end. If you push an enemy all the way back to their homeworld and you take over the homeworld, then they get knocked out of the war for the rest of that time. And when you conquer all 3 enemies, there's like a unique cutscene that plays at the end, you know, and then vice versa. If Super Earth gets invaded and then you die, then you get like a bad ending sort of thing. I really enjoyed that. I don't know why they didn't implement that in Helldivers 2, because this is one of the reasons that I stopped playing it. It just started feeling like I was fighting for nothing, because I recall there was a point where I think it was maybe the 3rd month after Helldivers had come out, Helldivers 2 came out, the community had actually beaten the automatons all the way back and had completely removed them from the map. And instead of staying out of the war, they just kind of came back, and the developers just, like, you know, gave them a bunch of territory just out of the blue for no reason, you know. And I didn't like that at all. I assumed it was going to be like Helldivers 1, where you can beat all of the enemy factions back, and then you'd get like an end of the war state, and then they would just restart again. So I didn't enjoy that at all. But in Helldivers 1, it's not like that. So another one for you Souls enjoyers, Lies of P. I kind of mentioned this in Speaking Easy 1, but Lies of P is an exceptional Souls-like game that isn't made by FromSoft. So if you enjoy FromSoft games, Souls-like games, Lies of P is a high-quality, really well made one. A beautiful graphics, great gameplay. I wouldn't say it's entirely like Souls, because, you know, there's you're playing as Pinocchio essentially, but it is definitely worth your time if you enjoy Souls games. So yeah, pick up Lies of P if you like Souls games. And then another one, I played this one on stream. It is a stream favorite, like Age Through Blood. I absolutely adore that game, and kind of like I mentioned in Speaking Easy 1, one of the reasons that I started even streaming is because I wanted to bring attention to games that I thought didn't have as much attention, and Laika was definitely one of those games, because I don't know, I just didn't see enough people talking about Laika, you know. So but yeah, Laika Age Through Blood, that's a huge recommend for me. If you love Metroidvanias, if you love 2D side scrollers, pick up Laika. It's gonna be worth your time. The story is great, the characters are awesome, and the gameplay is fantastic. So yeah, definitely Laika. Another one that's similar, Returnal. Returnal is a what did I call it? Roguelike. It's same concept as like Risk of Rain or Binding of Isaac, except it's like in this cool sci-fi setting with like these amazing and beautiful graphics, very fast-paced gameplay. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very sad that there wasn't more advertising and more of a push to get this game out, because dude, the production value in this game is phenomenal. But yeah, definitely Returnal. If your computer can handle it, pick it up. If you have a PS5, play Returnal, dude. I mean, there's barely any games on PS5 anyways, so like you might as well, right? And then finally, the last game that I can recommend that's kind of in the down low and no one really knows about is Touhou Luna Nights. So this is based off of the infamous Touhou franchise. I don't know why I said infamous, but just you know, the Touhou franchise, and it's not a main installment, so it's considered a spin-off game that's like non-canon. But the reason that I picked it up is because I just really like Metroidvanias, and it's a Metroidvania Toho game. So yeah, there's that. And normally Toho games are bullet hells, but this one is a Metroidvania. So yeah, but yeah, those are games that I can recommend that are kind of like not as well known and that I really enjoyed and that I would give 5 out of 5 methinks stars. Must play, classic, highly rated, best hits, methinks approved, just highly rated, banger. So why do you guys like me? I'm a freaking idiot. And next, Jake asks, what got you to start roleplaying? Good question. I like that. Well, basically, back in 2012, well, honestly, back in 2011, it was around the time that like Google acquired YouTube, and they kind of forced everybody to make a Google Plus account. So Google Plus was supposed to be this sort of like social media that they had created to compete with like the likes of Facebook and that sort of stuff. So everyone, if you wanted to use YouTube, you had to create a Google Plus account. And I created, that's when I created my second YouTube account, which is, it's actually this one right here. I decided, you know what? Heck it, I'm gonna use Google Plus, and on Google Plus, I ended up finding a lot of pony roleplay communities, and at the time, I was really into My Little Pony. I mean, I still kind of am, but like back then more so. Like I was in that fandom. Like that fandom was my everything essentially at the time. So, yeah, and I found roleplay through that. And that's how I decided to create characters and OCs and stuff like that, because of Google Plus. I saw people with their own custom ponies. I wanted to have my own, and I wanted to come up with plenty of lore. At the time, My Little Pony fanfictions were really huge. Like that was all the rage, and so there was one fanfiction in particular, I forget which one it is exactly, but it introduced this faction called the New Lunar Republic and its counterpart, the Solar Empire. And again, I forget where it originates from. If it's even from a fanfiction, actually. It's kind of like lost data now. But anyways, so I ended up creating a roleplay group that was based around the New Lunar Republic, and I owned a New Lunar Republic roleplay group for I think from 2013 to 2014, something like that. It was a year, and it got pretty huge at the time. It got massive. But yeah, that kind of just is what got me into roleplay. And then later on, because like I will always say this, and people will crucify me for it, but whenever I will, like My Little Pony, its high point was definitely like 2015, 2016, because after that it started to kind of just mellow out for the most part, especially so in like 2017, and you know, now there's not much of it left, especially because Generation 4 is over and G5 is kind of ass cakes. I kind of talked about that in Speakeasy 1, but yeah, so that's definitely what got me into roleplay, was ponies. That's how I made my first OC ever. Honestly, I would say my pony OC was the first one that I ever made, and it was all for roleplay too. Ever since, I've been in love with it, and it's honestly one of my favorite hobbies. I kind of mentioned in Speakeasy 1 that I don't play a lot of video games these days, but the one thing that has stayed consistent, certainly, has been roleplay. I have been roleplaying for a long time, and I don't really see myself ever stopping, because it's just a wealth of untapped imagination and potential. I mean, if you think about it, right? Like, it's just writing, essentially, is what it is. And as long as you can write it, it can happen, right? And so yeah, it's been such a pivotal, what the fuck, pivotal part of my character, of my me, my being, my essence. And yeah, so that's how I got into roleplay. You can thank Twilight Sparkle. Oh man. And finally, for our last question, Oval asks, are there any games that you were excited for but ended up disappointing you? Oh man, that's a good question. Boy, do I have a whole list for you. But we'll only cover a few, because if I talked about every game that disappointed me, I would be here forever. Which I know that's what you want, but like, I want to go to bed. Anyways, so yeah, I guess first and foremost, when you ask that question, the first thing that comes to mind immediately is Mass Effect Andromeda. After Mass Effect, well, the Mass Effect trilogy, there was just so much expectation for Mass Effect Andromeda. I mean, we had, like I've said, in the past, Mass Effect is probably the best sci-fi space opera video game that you can get your hands on. I would even argue to this freaking day. I don't think any other game compares to the writing and the sheer amount of options and the world building and the immersion, and I could go on and on. But yeah, no, there was a lot of expectations for Mass Effect Andromeda, a lot of expectations for its gameplay, its story, oh my god, its story especially. And it just did not deliver. I mean, what the game is about is it takes place at some point after Mass Effect 2, and you fuck off out of the galaxy and you go to the Andromeda galaxy, right? And so immediately a lot of people are thinking like, oh man, this is a completely new galaxy. And considering how BioWare had written this galaxy, right? Surely there's going to be like a whole bunch of species, a whole bunch of new places to explore, politics to uncover and unveil. There were two new species in this entire galaxy. 2. And one of them is a clone race. One of them is a race of clones, so you can't even count them. Really, it's just one guy, a clone of one dude. So then that leaves what? The Angarans? They're probably the most generic aliens there ever were. Like, holy shit. I'm putting this here, like the lowest of the most disappointing, because Andromeda, what it did right was its gameplay. Oh my god, is its gameplay phenomenal. Like, this is what I wish the trilogy had. The movement, the verticality of the movement, they improved on that so much. The graphics are beautiful. I would say pretty much every other facet rather than the story. Well, and the music also is pretty fucking forgettable in my opinion. But yeah, just about every other facet, I'd say they did a really good job. They even went ahead and brought back the Mass Effect 3 style multiplayer that everyone really enjoyed. And I was really sad whenever they came out with the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect that they didn't bring back the multiplayer. So but yeah, so Andromeda is one of those games that really disappointed me. Another one that I can also think off the top of my head is Outer Worlds, not to be confused with Outer Wilds. Outer Worlds by Obsidian. Again, just there was so much expectation for Obsidian to deliver because they're the guys behind freaking New Vegas. They're the dudes who made Fallout, right? So you were I was definitely expecting some god tier writing, but mainly the game's main drawback is the fact that it's like 2 seconds long. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, I'm not the type of person who thinks that like, oh, a game needs to be, long in order to be worth it. I don't think so. Some of my favorite games, you can beat them in one sitting, like Katana Zero, Fury. If you're good at those games, you can definitely beat those games in like one sitting. It's like 6 hours, right? But Outer Worlds, you can beat it in one sitting, and there's just nothing. It felt like the game was rushed. You know what I mean? The setting itself wasn't all that intriguing, and it's so disappointing because all of the marketing and stuff behind it was advertising this unique world full of like, well, solar system full of all kinds of crap, and it's like, no, not really. And it all just boils down to, do you want to suck the feet of the corporation or do you want to kill them all? It's kind of it. Definitely not like, it's a far cry from really any other Fallout game or any RPG, honestly. But yeah, so Outer Worlds is another one that I thought of. It just was short, didn't have a lot of substance, you know. Again, I'm not saying that just because it was short it's bad. I'm saying that just for the scale that they were going for, the length of the game did not play in its favor at all, in my opinion. I felt like it definitely was undercooked. But yeah, so Outer Worlds. Another one that I can think of off the top of my head that I'm very passionate about is Halo Infinite. I freaking hated Halo Infinite. I thought it was garbage. The campaign was alright. It was bland. A lot of people were like, oh, but it's open world. It's open world. Like, no, dude. Halo Infinite suffered from that kind of 2018 idea of like, innovation means open world. Innovation means that you should make your game open world. No, absolutely not. And Halo suffers for it, in my opinion, because some of Halo's coolest and most memorable moments were in cutscenes that took place in levels. And not just that, but also, again, some of its most memorable moments were in set pieces in levels. I mean, think of Warthog Ride. Think of what's it called, Lone Wolf from Reach, etc., right? And that was only possible because the structure of the game is in levels, so that allows the developers, instead of making this big ass open world that's, you know, as wide as an ocean but as deep as a puddle, they can make these well crafted, you know, set worlds for each level, right? And sure, they're not enormous. Sure, there's nothing to explore in them, but there's not supposed to be. It's linear, right? It guides you down the path, and that path is full of stuff that's really cool and intriguing, right? I thought the campaign was bland, but the thing that really, really pisses me off about Halo Infinite is the fucking multiplayer. The multiplayer is absolutely atrocious to me, and that sucks because I thought Halo Infinite's gameplay and gunplay were really good. Probably some of the best in the series, the best since Reach, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I just thought Halo Infinite was fucking doo-doo garbage because of the multiplayer. The biggest thing that I can point out is the microtransactions. Oh my god, like, Halo, dude, like, Reach, in my opinion, Reach is the best armor customization Halo has ever had. And it is genuinely surprising to me that nothing has topped it, in my opinion. The thing that kind of held down 4 was the art style. They were doing some fucking, like, Raze type shit, you know what I mean? Generic sci-fi garbage with their art style. Halo 5, kind of the same freaking deal. Halo Infinite, it had the art style. It has the art style, right? It's just that everything is locked behind freaking microtransactions. There's no progression to be had. You can't even pick your damn colors. You have to buy the damn stuff. And there's a battle pass and shit now too. It's just, oh man. And I'm just reminded of the state that Halo Infinite was in when it came out on launch. Ever since launch, I've not touched the game. Thought the game was just trash. But yeah, that's Halo Infinite. It's mainly the multiplayer that pisses me off. I do not like the way that Halo is going. And if this is the norm now, like, look, it doesn't matter how good you are at the game, right? You're not going to unlock anything. There's no progression in Halo Infinite's multiplayer whatsoever, because it's all locked behind the battle pass or straight up just locked behind the store. If you don't buy the battle pass, all that XP goes to fucking nothing, right? You might unlock a blue 5 levels in, but that's about it, right? So yeah, it's horrible. It's I don't know what the fuck happened to Halo. The fact that people aren't pissed off about that you now have to buy armor pieces when in literally every Halo installation, at least made by Bungie, right? It was all just unlockable. It was, you know, normal progression for the fucking game, is astonishing to me. I'm honestly astonished that no one like that there wasn't more of a wildfire over it, you know what I mean? But I will never accept it. I will never accept that I have to buy a battle pass in order to progress in a game, because it should not be like that at all, right? Anyways, so the next game that I can also think of is Destiny. You know, what is it with these Titan studios that, like, you know, they made the most legendary games in the past, right? What is it with these giants just like falling over, you know? But Destiny, after Bungie left Microsoft, a lot of people were like excited to see what Bungie would come up with, because everyone was like, oh, you know, now that they're free of the shackles of Microsoft, now they're going to be able to create their true vision, right? Like Halo wasn't their true fucking vision, right? And I was one of those people. I was so excited to see what they would come up with, yeah. And everybody knew about Destiny because of the fucking Easter eggs and ODST and stuff. And when it came out, oh my, looter shooter? Are you fucking kidding me? Looter shooter? And the worst fucking part about Destiny is that, like, you are locked out of all of the content unless you buy the expansions. Literally, like, it's free to play, but you can't earn anything. All of the good loot, all of the good exotics, they're all locked behind the raids. And guess what? You can't do raids unless you buy the fucking expansions. It's insane to me. You know what I mean? Back then, when Destiny 2 went free to play anyways, you could play Red War, which was the first story arc. It had that first raid. And but here's the thing. They vaulted it. So the very first raid that came with the fucking game got fucking vaulted, I guess. So if you're a free-to-play player and you jump into Destiny right now, there's literally nothing you can do except, like, run around in the open world and pick up shit loot. That's about it. So, but yeah, Destiny 1 and 2, I didn't like them. I mean, I will be a bit more lenient on Destiny 1, because I definitely played a good bit of Destiny 1 with my cousin. And I have good memories from doing the Taken King. And I did spend a lot of time in Destiny 2 as well, but I didn't enjoy it. And honestly, it was because I wanted to be friends with this group of people, and it didn't fucking work out whatsoever. So, but yeah, Destiny 1 and 2, definitely disappointed. It's on my shit list, and I want a refund for all the time that I spent on it. But the last game that I can mention and think of is Starbound. So Starbound, this one fucking hurts, because Starbound is the whole reason that I even got into PC gaming. It really did fucking show me a whole new fucking world. It showed me the power of modding games and whatever. When the game came out for well, it didn't come out. When it was in beta, it was amazing. It was literally Terraria but in space, right? The game just fucking, it gave you a little tutorial, and then you could go anywhere, do anything, go to any planet, build anything, do whatever the fuck you want, right? It was so much fun. And I even recall using, like, fucking Hamachi, all right? If you don't know what the fuck Hamachi is, you are young. You are a young one. But I recall even having to use Hamachi and set that up in order to play multiplayer with my friends. But when the game finally came out, when the 1.0 version of the game finally released, they shoehorned in this fucking shitty generic story mode that gets in the way of everything. You get barred from so much progression because of the fucking story. You have to, like, just do the fucking story, or else, like, you literally can't even upgrade your ship or get higher tier technology. It's just fucking in the way. And the story basically boils down to a giant fucking fetch quest that is painfully painful, because the fucking universe is randomly generated. It's RNG. So, like, your fucking little advisor thing is gonna tell you, like, oh yeah, go find 3 avian colonies. Man, if you have luck like me, you're gonna be there for a while. You're gonna be hopping from planet to planet, running around the fucking surface of the planet, trying to find an avian goddamn colony. And it's all up to the number generation gods, because fuck me if you'll ever be able to find one. I think the last time that I played Starbound, that's exactly what happened to me. I sat there for a night, and it's the session of gaming, and for the life of me, I could not fucking find a goddamn Florian colony. I couldn't find one. I just couldn't. And then I was just like, fuck this game, dude. If they were to release a patch where you could play like a sandbox mode, like okay, so there's story mode and then there's sandbox, right? I would be on Starbound all fucking day, on God. But they're not gonna do that, so I'm gonna cry now. Well, my dear audience, that's gonna do it for this episode of Speaking Easy. I hope you all enjoyed and you had a good time. I know I did, and I'm actually really liking making these videos. You know, when I first started, I didn't think that I would enjoy the whole editing process because I'd always found it a bit tedious, but I'm actually really enjoying it, and I hope you are too. But yeah, for now, I'll have to bid you farewell, and you just be safe out there, alright? Stay hydrated, be sure to eat something, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.